What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about Starter Deck 22. I showed you the other day the leader card for Starter Deck 22 and the first couple of other cards, and I told you about that really good leader skill whereby activate main once per turn. You can reveal a card with Whitebeard Pirates from your hand, draw a card, and then add the revealed card to the top of your deck. Basically, you just swap the top card of your deck with a Whitebeard card in your hand. And I told you that it was mono blue, and that was a little bit awkward, but it wasn't the end of the world. It was still all right. It was still good. And that we were missing something. Because essentially what this allowed you to do was stack the top of your deck with a card that you could then play with the OP06 Sanji. You could essentially just put a Whitebeard Pirates card on top of your deck, and then you play Sanji, and Sanji lets you play the top card of your deck as long as it's not a 10 cost or a card called Sanji. And I told you that we just didn't have a good enough card here. I told you that the OP08 Newgate was blue, but it was a 10 cost, so it didn't work. And the OP02 Newgate was red, so that didn't work. I told you what we needed was a 9 cost blue Edward Newgate. Well, wonderful news. We have a 9 cost blue Edward Newgate. So then the question is, well, all right then, is this going to make the deck a million times better? And the answer is, kind of yeah. 9 cost, 10,000 power, and starting off we got double attack. This is awesome. I think this is fantastic. So yeah, this is ridiculous. Also, on play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a Whitebeard Pirates card, you draw 2. So it's a 9 cost, 10k, with double attack that draws 2 cards. Now, here's the thing here. Because on the one hand, we can look at this and go, well, of course you know what the top card of your deck's going to be. It's going to be a Whitebeard Pirate. And on the other hand, you're like, well, we'll see. Because the problem is, you're going to use a leader skill to put a Whitebeard Pirate on top of your deck, but you're going to use a leader skill to put this Newgate on top of your deck. And then you're going to play Sanji as your 9 cost for the turn, and then that's going to look at the top card of your deck, and you're going to find a character of a cost of 9 or less other than Sanji. You're going to find the Newgate, and then you're going to play it for free, so you're going to get a 9k body and a 10k body down on the board for the cost of 9 Don, which is obviously absurdly good. Like, absurdly good. And you've got double attack, which is ridiculous. You're then kind of hoping. Now, if you play enough Whitebeard cards, you can look at this and just be like, yeah, we're good. Like, we're fine. We know what the deal is here. We are going to be able to just whack this down. You're good. Because I know my deck is like pretty much, or maybe even entirely, all Whitebeard cards. So don't even worry about it. Honestly, you're going to be okay. The problem is, otherwise you could be in a little bit of an issue, because the top card of your deck you're stacking with your leader, you know it's Whitebeard, but then after that, who knows? But we got a million cards in the format, like Perona from OP01, that lets you rearrange the top 3 cards of your deck. So what you can essentially do with something like Perona is leave a Whitebeard Pirates card at the top of your deck. Perona's the top 5 card of your deck. And then you put your Newgate down. So then you play Sanji, you get Newgate off the top, you play that, but then you know as of the Perona that the next card is going to be Whitebeard Pirates. And if you got 10 Don, yes, you could play Perona and Sanji at the same time. Or, of course, with Perona, because you're rearranging the top 5 cards of your deck, you absolutely could kind of plan a couple turns ahead, making sure that a Whitebeard Pirates card will be on top when the Newgate finally comes down. But the key point here is, we have a good 9-drop for this deck. When we saw this deck, we saw the leader, and we were like, okay, cool, so we're going to get Sanji here. And you can't play an entirely Whitebeard Pirates deck, because you need to play for Sanji. But we needed a good target for Sanji, and now we have one, and that's fantastic. But we have some other cards as well, like a new Marco. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, And once per turn, if this would be KO'd by an opponent's effect, you may instead trash a card from your hand. Okay. Not bad, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. Although I do need to mention, I've seen a couple translations of this card this morning and they're both wrong. I'm seeing translations here where people are saying if it would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect. That's not what it says. It specifically says if this character would be KO'd by one of your opponent's effects, you may instead trash a card from their hand. From your hand, not from their hand. That would be weird. From your hand. But it's very important. This does not work if your opponent were to bounce the card to your hand, or were to move the card to your deck, or even to trash the card. This is a skill that specifically can prevent you being KO'd. But you can see, like, you don't even need to read any Japanese. You can see that it specifically says KO'd. Whereas, for instance, the Sabo from OP10 has a skill that activates if it would be removed from the field, and you'll see that KO does not appear on that card anywhere. So the phrasing is very, very different. I'm not going to go into a big Japanese lesson here, but I can assure you I've double-checked this. I've done the translation myself. This is if it would be KO'd, not removed from the field, which does make the card significantly weaker, but it's still a very good skill. We've then got, when attacking, you may reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is a Whitebeard Pirates card, then until the end of your opponent's next turn, then this character gets plus 1,000 power. So an extra 1,000 power for this turn, but then also if your opponent tries to attack to take you out or whatever, you get that extra 1,000 power. Not too bad. Nice little card. So it's a 4-cost 5k, but really it's a 6k because it gets an extra 1k bump, and it gets a 1k bump for your opponent's turn as well. So it's essentially a 4-cost 6k counter plus 1,000, i.e. it has the stats of a vanilla card, but it can also stop you being KO'd by your opponent's effects. And as a side note, again, it is KO'd by your opponent's effects. It does not do anything if you would be KO'd just in a challenge normally. It has to be an effect that KOs you. The card is very clear about that. Now, it's not technically a 4-cost 6k. It only works if you reveal the top card of your deck and it's a Whitebeard Pirates card. But as we've been talking about, you've got your leader skill. There's plenty of other things in blue. I think you're going to be okay. Now, we do also have ourselves a White Bay. And what we've got here is 1-cost 1k counter plus 1,000. Counter plus 1,000, good. And we've got on your turn, on play, you may reveal 2 Whitebeard Pirate cards from your hand, and then it gives your Whitebeard Pirates leader plus 2,000 power, which is clearly brilliant. If you're playing, this is another one where you need to be playing a Whitebeard Pirates deck pretty conclusively, frankly. However, if you're playing a Whitebeard Pirates deck, you're going to have 2 Whitebeard Pirates cards in hand a lot of the time, and you only need to reveal them. You don't need to do anything else to them. And then you get a 2k bump. And then all of a sudden your leader's like a 7k, which honestly sounds pretty good to me. And round we go. I like it. This is nice. We do have a couple of event cards we can have a quick look at here as well. We've got ourselves Fire Fist. Yes, another Fire Fist. And what we've got is, as a main, you can reveal 2 Whitebeard Pirates cards from your hand, draw a card, and then a cost 5 or lower character goes to the bottom of its owner's deck, which is nice. As a trigger, you bump a 3-cost to hand. Obviously not as good as bumping a 5-cost back to the bottom of the deck, but still pretty useful. Yes, you do have to show 2 Whitebeard Pirate cards, but as I keep saying, you should be able to do that in the deck. More interesting for me is the card just called I Am Whitebeard. And what we've got here is an 8-cost, but if your leader is Whitebeard Pirates, you can play a Newgate from your hand. So now your 9-cost Newgate becomes an 8-cost. Now again, a lot of the time we probably want to be playing it with Sanji anyway, but still, this is another option. You're reducing it down to an 8-cost, which is nice. And then you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand, and if you did, your leader gets a 2k bump, which is awesome. Oh, and by the way, it's until the end of your opponent's next turn. What that means is that 2k bump lasts through your opponent's turn. So, yeah. Every attack your opponent pulls off against your leader on their entire turn is going to need an extra 2k to get anywhere. That's actually busted. And now I'm kind of willing to pay 8 cost and play Newgate normally, because for 8 cost I get my 9 cost Newgate and a 2k bump to my leader until the end of my opponent's next turn. That's kind of redonk, and I love it. And just to be clear, it doesn't have to be the new 9 cost Newgate. You could use this to play, that 10 cost Newgate. So maybe it's going to breathe new life into that old card as well. So there we go. A lot of good cards from Starter Deck 22. And I've been telling you guys all along, we just need a little bit more. We just need a little bit more to push this deck over the edge, and now I think we might have it. I think with these new cards I've shown you in this video, we might finally be at the stage where we can look at Starter Deck 22 and go, okay, yeah, we're good. Now we're there, now this makes sense, now we're happy. But I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think about all these cards. Tell me what you think about Starter Deck 22. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.